Hey Glamm Fam, welcome back to my channel. If you're not a part of my Glamm Fam, hit the subscribe button below and don't forget to hit the bell to turn the notifications on too. So I just want to make a quick intro thanking everybody who showed me so much love on my mirror coffee table DIY video that got almost 400,000 views to date. I think it's at like 380. So thank you guys so much for watching, sharing it on Facebook. I've seen some people say they came across it through Pinterest, which is so cool. So thank you guys so much for that. And I want to apologize for not posting another DIY since then, but that's all gonna change. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. I know it's very long, so I'm not gonna talk too much. And I did take into account the fact that I was moving the video or the camera around really fast in the beginning or the vlog portion of that video. So I saw you guys and I know how to take constructive criticism, so I really tried to slow it down a bit in this one. So anyways, on to the video. Bye. So guys, I was scoping the internet looking for some decorative pieces for my house and came across this gorgeous tufted mirror, but that price, girl, not so beautiful. But of course my eye would catch the most expensive thing, so I decided to make my own and I'm gonna show you how I did it. So to get started, you're going to need this hardboard. I actually got everything from Home Depot as far as the hardware to make the mirror. And of course they do cut the wood down for you, so feel free to ask. And all of the materials that I use for this project, I will list down below. A lot of the stuff I already had, so it didn't cost me anything for this particular project. So if you don't have a lot of these things, then please take that into consideration when budgeting for this project. The fabric, the foam, and the fiber I got from Joann. Everything else was from Home Depot. You will also need the whiteboard to make the frame or whatever plywood you wish to use. I'm just showing you here how I sized everything to make sure it fit before attaching things together. For the frameless mirror, I got mine from Home Depot. It was a little more expensive, but you can also get one from Walmart, and the measurements I just showed you are on the box. And it also came with screws that I ended up using to nail the hardboard to the frame. So I'm just showing you here, you want to make sure that your wood is touching and the whiteboard, or excuse me, the hardboard is behind or underneath there. Just making sure everything fits. There was a gap on one of the sides because my boyfriend tried to help me by sawing down the pieces because they were a little too big, but you know, when you hand saw, it's not a clean cut like you would with a machine, but I still made it work. So anyway, to get started, I used liquid nails and I just put that along the side of the wood and along the other end, and then I glued it together. So that's what you see me doing now. So I'm just gluing all of those sides together. Obviously, because I'm using one hand, I cannot apply as much pressure as I would like to. So I will do that off camera, but of course this is just for demonstration purposes. And I'm sorry about the framing. I don't know why it's like the frame flipped, but it's gonna flip back to fit the entire video screen in a minute. Sorry about that, guys. So anyways, there it is. 2 hours later after curing, you can now lift your frame. It is still drying, but you can lift it. And what we're going to do now is use our staple gun to staple all of those connecting areas that we glued together for extra security, just so that the wood doesn't separate over time. Okay guys, so this is what it should look like, stapled along the way. I did about 10 to 12 staples per side. And if you see the stickers on the wood, do not worry about that because it will be concealed. I did that on the other side as well with the staples, as you can see. So this is super secure, and this will just ensure the wood does not separate. So now I'm just going to move the mirror out of the way, and then I'm going to nail the hardboard to the back of the frame, and then we'll get started on the fabric. So So now I'm going to take the screws that came from the mirror and I'm going to power drill them in. If you do not have a power drill, feel free to use a hammer, works just as good. And then in between the screws, I also nailed down some additional short nails for extra security. So this is what the front of the board looks like after nailing everything down on the back. Now I'm taking the 1-inch foam and I'm lining it along the inner portion of the frame, and I'm also going to leave about 2 inches of foam overlapping or extra, so that when you pull your fabric over, the frame is soft from front to back. And I'm just using some adhesive spray to hold it in place and get it prepped for the staple gun. So here I'm just cutting the foam, and as you can see, I'm making sure to leave that extra foam so when I fold it over, it's soft from front to back. Okay guys, so what I'm doing now is using the staple gun to staple along the edge, because what this does is it creates that rounded look that we want. So when we flip the fabric over later, it's gonna give that nice smooth round effect versus this like really sharp square edge, and it can look really lumpy when you flip the fabric over. Tongue twister. So I'm using my staple gun to go around the edge, and what you want to do, I can't do it with one hand, but I'm gonna try just to show you guys. You want to get as close to the edge as possible to make that smooth line. So I'm gonna try and do it with one hand just to show you. Oops, I don't even think I was in frame. But we're gonna try that again. You see, you don't want it to go over the edge. You want it to be lining up with the edge, like here. Like towards the end, I got a little sloppy over there, but this is how you want it to be along the whole way. So just, you know, tug it to make sure it's lined up with the edge, and then staple right there so that it ends up looking like this, which is really neat and clean. That's why I keep going back to this corner. So I'm gonna continue doing that along the edge here, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with the fiber. So when I come back, it will be time for the fabric. Also guys, if you are enjoying this video so far and finding it helpful, feel free to share it with a friend. And if you do decide to recreate my mirror, please let me know. I'd love to see your recreations, how you do it differently from me, or if you use different material, whatever. I'm totally excited to see what you guys recreate. Okay, so now we're looking at the back of the mirror. So I'm just showing you how to do the back. So we're going to pull the fiber as tightly as you can without tearing it and staple it down. And then we're going to continue that process all around the perimeter. The key to creating that tufted look is to make sure you're pulling your foam and your fiber tightly, so that when you go to actually tuft your buttons, it looks more plush, if that makes sense. So this is what it looks like after doing that whole side, and this is the front after laying down the foam and the fabric, or wait, the foam and the fiber. We're now getting ready to use the fabric. So this is the fabric that I'll be using. As I showed you earlier, that mirror was using leather, so I got pleather from Joann's Fabrics at $10 a yard, and I got 2 yards of this so that it would be long enough to cover the long sides of the frame. Okay guys, so what I've done now is I have marked the diagonal spots for where I want the fold of the fabric to be, and I've measured where I want my dots to be, and I'm going to cut some holes in those dots. The buttons are going to be 3 inches from the middle and 8 inches apart. And down below here, they're 3.5 inches from the middle, same thing, 8 inches apart, all the way around. So after marking the spots where I want to put the buttons, I was going to use the power drill to kind of like drill holes, but then it was getting caught up in the fiber, so I ended up canceling that. And then I just thought, why don't I staple gun it down, and this works a lot better, so that way when I put the fabric on top, I'll be able to feel where the buttons need to go a lot easier because of the little dip that's already in there. So yeah, it's coming along, you guys. I cannot wait to be done because I'm super tired, and this was like an all day project for me at least. Okay, so let me explain what's happening right now. I cut off the extra material so that it wouldn't be weighing the fabric because it is kind of heavy. I'm just using random objects to hold each end. So what I'm gonna do now, what you're gonna do is find the corner, which I already did, and I drew a line all the way to the opposite corner, and then you want to kind of bring it going straight down, because what's going to happen here is you're going to cut 1 inch above this line, and this material, extra material, is going to be either glued or sewn to another piece of material that we're going to cut, so that this will create that nice fold right here. And I'll show you later on what I mean, so it makes more sense. Okay, so here's what I was trying to explain, is that the extra fabric, when you either sew it or glue it together, you're going to turn it inside out and sew that material, so that way it makes the nice neat pleat like this in the corner. But you know, just a lot neater. I only have one hand right now, but it will look something like that when it's done, and it'll be super neat. So like I say, you can glue it or sew it. Since I'm tired and it's late, I'll probably glue it, but for a neater finish, you can sew it. So now I'm just going to do that along all of the corners, and I actually ended up using the E6000 glue instead because I accidentally left the liquid nails open and it started to dry in the tube. So yeah, a lot of stuff always goes on behind the scenes for these YouTube videos that y'all will never know about. But anyways, I'm stapling the fabric in place so that it doesn't slide around while I glue it together. And I did have a little bit of trouble with using the E6000 glue for like against this particular material. Like, I don't know, it was easy to rub off. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I still went with it. And if for any reason it starts to unravel in the future, I will just use super glue or end up sewing it. But for now, it worked for this project. So we are almost to the finish line, you guys. So this is what the back looks like after stapling all of the fabric. We're gonna flip it over and start creating our tufted look. So off camera, I went ahead and stapled the leather down, and all I did was find the dips that I already pre-made underneath the leather and stapled right on top to create the tufted look on top of the leather now. And then all we have to do is glue our buttons into those holes and lay our mirror. So I forgot to mention to you guys that these buttons came from Walmart. That was the only thing that was not from Joann's or Home Depot. It was in a pack of 11 for $1.97, so I bought 2 packs, and each pack actually came with an extra button. So it was a total of 24 buttons, and I used all but 2 buttons for this entire mirror. So now the only thing left to do is lay down our mirror, and yeah. So for some reason I had a little bit of trouble getting it in there, but after readjusting and realigning, it started to work itself out. And yeah, so here is the finished product. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I totally love my mirror, and I can't wait to do my next DIY. Don't forget to share, subscribe, follow me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.